delivering water to the front lines. She was later nicknamed Molly Pitcher.
Molly Pitcher.
But Pitcher did more than that. When her husband could no longer man his cannon, she reportedly stepped in, firing on British troops. The battle resulted in a draw, but it was a psychological victory for the Americans, who proved they were a formidable enemy for the British. As for Pitcher, her heroic acts became legendary, memorialized through buildings, stamps, and statues across America.
Yes.
New Jersey was also home to our most celebrated inventor, Thomas Edison. He worked on many of his creations here at what's now Edison National Park in West Orange. Edison and his team came here in 1887, 8 years after inventing the light bulb. Soon, they unveiled the first movie camera, called a kinetograph. They filmed in a structure known as the Black Maria, the world's first movie studio. Inside, actors stood under this slanted roof, which hinged open to let light in. Edison soon started a film company, which made movies nearby in Fort Lee, New Jersey. In his time, this was a small town, with space to film and access to New York actors. Independent filmmakers flocked here, starting fledgling studios in buildings like this. MGM, Fox, and Universal all have roots here, making Fort Lee the birthplace of motion pictures. Fort Lee has a rich history of trailblazers, as does a city 800 miles away on the shores of Lake Michigan. For decades, Chicago, Illinois has inspired pioneers. From architects who designed new buildings to musicians who developed the blues. But one of its best-loved heroes is a man known as Mr. Cub. Ernie Banks came to Wrigley Field in 1953 as the Cubs' first African-American player. He went on to lead the league in home runs, later becoming a Hall of Famer. But fans loved him most for his attitude. Even in tough times, he was famous for saying, "It's a beautiful day for a ball game. Let's play two." In 2013, Banks received the Presidential Medal of Freedom for both his storied career at Wrigley and his eternal optimism. On the opposite side of Illinois, a trailblazer made his mark on the state's vast farmland. In the early 1800s, settlers began heading to this new territory. But they struggled to grow crops in the thick roots of the prairie grass. Their plows kept getting stuck.
John helped him.
In 1837, a
1837, John stepped in.
blacksmith named John Deere began working on a solution. He lived in this house in the town of Grand Detour. In his workshop out back, Deere fashioned a new plow with a streamlined shape. For the blade, he used steel instead of iron, hoping it would more easily slice through the tough roots. Four years and many adjustments later, John Deere produced 100 plows for local farmers. As demand grew, he moved his business 75 miles away to Moline, where it's still headquartered today. Here, John Deere manufactures hundreds of machines for construction and farming. Combines like these feature wireless data transfers and GPS for farmers plowing into the 21st century. But of all of Illinois' trailblazers, one stands out: Abraham Lincoln. His roots here shaped his character and our country. At 22, Lincoln left his father's farm for New Salem, determined to lead a better life. Poor and with little formal schooling, he worked odd jobs and borrowed books to further his education. He won over local residents who elected him to the state legislature in Springfield. Over the next decade, Lincoln made his first public declarations against slavery and started a law practice with an abolitionist named William Herndon. For the next 14 years, Lincoln's family and status grew, along with his political aspirations. In 1858, from the Illinois Capitol, he delivered his House Divided speech during his bid for the U.S. Senate. Lincoln lost that election, but soon won the presidency.
Yes.
When he left Springfield, he told the gathered crowd, "To this place and these people, I owe everything." No matter where you go in America, you'll find stories of innovators and pioneers.
Yes.
From everyday citizens to famous leaders, Americans have taken extraordinary risks for their families, their flag, and their future. Along the way, some became heroes, others became legends, many were largely forgotten. But all of them, in one way or another, blazed a trail into America's future.
Regardless whether it was the Wright brothers that created the airplane or those who done other great feats, they are part of the American dream. They are the roots to America that has put us on the map towards being one of the greatest nations in and on the planet. On this memorial, let us remember all of those who have made great sacrifices for us to have what we have today. Let us never forget those who have sacrificed dearly in life and limb, in one form or the other, for us to achieve, to be achievers here in the 21st century. We will always here at the St. Del's Recovery Shelter, coming from the Windmill Ministries at 291 Thompson Road, Sharon, Tennessee, zip code 38255, always give special homage to those who have made such great endearing sacrifices for us today. Thank you for listening to just a little bit of what makes America great. We the people. God bless. Happy Memorial. And good luck to all of us as we end our program every time. Shalom.